Hey everybody, welcome back to Raw Food Muscle, and today I want to show you another recipe that actually I got from Alyssa Cohen. And this is something that I got way back when I was first starting into raw foods, and she really got me, to open that door to even think about the idea of raw foods. And I have to recommend this other book because she's really good, Alyssa Cohen. And when I first found out about her, I actually got some of her videos, and I was finding out like all the stuff that she was making, and I was like, what in the world is she doing? And I was like, but man, the food was good. The food tasted good. And so you never think of like raw foods, at least when I was starting off in the beginning and being in that kind of fashion in terms of combining flavors and mixing with herbs and spices and all that kind of stuff. So when you're doing the raw food thing, it's good to mix it up, especially when you're first starting off, because you're missing those flavors, you're missing those textures. All right, so I'm going to show you this one. It's basically a stuffed mushroom, and I'm using a Portobello mushroom. And this is something that I do. I actually peel the skin off. This is actually a darker layer of skin. You don't have to do that, but it just has a little bit extra bittery taste to it. And for me, taste is everything. So if I can make something taste a little bit different, believe me, I'm going to do it. So this is really simple. So all I do is that, you see that little piece that kind of hovers over the top. You can kind of grab it and then kind of peel it off just like that. Okay? It's not that hard. Sometimes you have to be a little bit more careful and not damage the actual mushroom, because sometimes these things can be a little bit fragile, so you have to be a little bit careful when you're working with these things. And when I was first playing with this, I had to really kind of go through a couple of them. Now the inside, you see those little grains, and I also scrub that off too. So I do that because, again, it's got that really bittery taste to it. And I just take a spoon and just kind of scrape around it, and see how easily it just comes right out. And I also cut off the middle. There's usually a stalk in the middle, and I just pretty much cut that off so I can have a nice little empty spot to put all my fixings. Alright, and all I'm doing, I already have my guacamole set up. There's a whole bunch of different ways that you can do this. I basically just put one avocado with some salt and some cilantro. I didn't do nothing too fancy with this. Sometimes I do a whole different type of thing, but for this I just want to do something really quick. And so this is something I just kind of put together. Now, the first thing I do is I put a little olive oil, just not too much, just a little bit. Okay, because the mushroom will soak up the olive oil. And then I pour a little bit of salt, Himalayan sea salt. Now I'm going to add in my guacamole. Oh, hang on, let me, before I forget, I also have some lime here. I'm going to squeeze in there a little bit. And the lime right there also will kick it up a whole nother notch, believe me, because when you're working with flavors, every little bit helps when you're mixing things up. And lime is big. And let me just mix this up a little bit. Let me give it a little taste. Yeah, buddy. We're working with something now. Alright, here we go. So I'm just going to put this over top, just like that. You see how it fits in there real nice. It's like a little boat. I'm going to take the other one, do the same thing, and spread it around. And you can put all kinds of toppings on it. I mean, whatever floats your boat, man. You can just go to town with it. It's all up to you. So for me, I'm just going to add a little bit of tomatoes. I'm going to add a little bit of sprouts on top of that. Okay. And on this one, we're going to do the same thing with tomatoes. And actually, let me throw some onions in here. So like I said, you can do all kinds of different things with this. You can put different types of onions in there. You can put some other types of greens. You can put spinach on there. You can do whatever. So you have to just kind of play with the flavors, play with what works. And what I also do just to put on the very top is just a little bit, just like that. Maybe a dash more on the salt. And then that is it. And this is fast and easy. And I'm going to take a little bite. See all the sprouts in there. Lots of good living foods. And the texture. So you gotta get the texture, because for me anyway, the different textures makes all the difference when you're trying to go raw. Whether it be crunchy texture, whether it be a nice soft kind of a meaty kind of texture. Then you got your shakes, you got your sweetness, you got your spiciness. So there's all different things. You kind of mix it all up to what you like, what your flavors that you prefer, and you know, it just makes it a whole lot easier when you're trying to make a transition. So for me, in the wintertime, this wintertime, it was a little bit tougher because I didn't prepare myself for how cold it was going to be. I mean, it was just so cold. It's not even fair how cold it was. I mean, I basically ended up eating, you know, things I shouldn't have, you know, eaten. You know, like cheese, and went back to some of my homegrown Latino dishes, which, oh man, you know, but it's no big deal. You know, you just do, you know, I did that, but you know, I'm moving on, getting back on to the real high raw stuff, and it's amazing because when you eat something that's cooked and heavy and rice or pasta or cheese, it really, you can feel the difference. In my workouts I was completely drained. I mean, I had my workouts, when you're used to eating raw foods, you get that energy, and then all of a sudden you put cooked foods back in your system. Body's like, what in the world are you doing? And it's like, oh no, we ain't doing that. We're taking a day off. And that's basically what was happening. I just had to, either I would get sick, or I just have no energy to get through my workout. And so, you know, I was like, you know what, let me just stick to the good stuff. And that's what makes me feel good. So, alright, I hope you guys like this recipe. Check out Alyssa Cohen, and I'll see y'all next time on Raw Food Muscle.